Normally I'd have some kind of a witty intro prepared for you, but I'm not really up to it today. And if you're wondering where I've been for these past few weeks, well, I've been here. This is the Frustrated Gamer Rehabilitation Center. And don't worry about the room, I got somebody taking care of it.
Well, in conclusion, taking into account the 247 pieces of merchandise on these shelves, the 162 Coca-Cola cans and bottles on top of the shelves, the random posters taped to the wall, and the smell of week-old Italian foods potentially emanating from beneath the bed, it should come to us as no surprise that this is a room.
I don't try to get mad at video games very often, so I never really thought that I'd end up here. But today's game drove me to my boiling point. It made me go insane. This game made me go insane. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because of Super Mario Sunshine. For the longest time, I've been making people more and more curious about what I really think of this game. And ever since I bought it from a local game store back in 2010, I wasn't exactly sure what to think of it myself. I played the game numerous times, but I never really played it enough to conjure up a full opinion. And even if I tried, it would always change. I would go from liking it, to not liking it, to being indifferent to it, to now. So, after 5 years of experience with this game, do I really hate it? Well, seeing as how I'm here, I can see why you would get that idea, but let's dig into it a little more. Now, if I were to say I hated it, surprisingly, I wouldn't be the only one, because from what I understand, Super Mario Sunshine is one of those games that people either adore or despise. Think of it as like the Man of Steel of the Mario series. I can't really explain why it's gotten the reception it did, but needless to say, it at least left some sort of impact on the gaming community when it was released for the GameCube on August 26, 2002. I'm not going to bother going through its development cycle because there's really nothing of major interest to talk about, except for maybe the fact that Mario was going to carry a water gun at some point, kind of like the 10th Doctor in the Fires of Pompeii. But I make enough Doctor Who references in my videos, so let's just get into the game. It begins with Mario, Princess Peach, and her steward Toadsworth heading to a tropical paradise called Isle Delfino. Now, where exactly is Luigi? Beats me. I guess Luigi's mansion traumatized him so much that he refuses to leave the house. Anyway, once they get there, they come across a giant glob of sentient paint, like we all do. Mario goes to get information about the substance, but talking to the people only shows us how much they want nothing to do with him. Odd, but Mario does find some help in the form of a water pump named Flood, a flash liquidizer ultra dowsing device invented by Professor Egad, who also equipped Luigi with his Poltergust 3000 in Luigi's mansion. So, wait, does that mean Luigi's Mansion is technically canon to the Mario games? Yeah, whatever, I'll leave that to crossover. If they ever make a new episode. So after Mario gets rid of the paint plant thing, he grabs a shiny thing for no reason other than maybe he has a fascination with shiny things. Suddenly, he gets apprehended by local authorities, and Mario ends up in jail. The most lovable icon in the entire gaming industry is behind bars. We seem to be off to a good start. Next thing you know, we're in a courtroom scene. It's here where we find out that someone's defaced the entire island with graffiti, causing Isle Delfino's source of power, the Shine Sprites, to flee. Somehow. A sketch of Mario that looks like it could have been taken from DeviantArt shows that he's apparently the culprit, even though we just got here maybe 10 minutes ago. But because no one seems to have any real evidence to indicate that Mario is indeed responsible, the people of Isle Delfino, they're called the Piantas by the way, force him to clean up the entire island. Man, where's Phoenix right when you need him? Once you're put to work, Mario encounters a shadow version of himself, cleverly dubbed Shadow Mario. And guess what? Shadow Mario's responsible for the graffiti. He did all this to frame Mario and get him arrested. Alright, this is actually a really interesting plot for a Mario game, and one that I think has a lot of potential. But unfortunately, it seems to suffer from the Sonic Adventure 2 syndrome, where Mario and Shadow Mario obviously look nothing alike, and yet Mario is still accused of being the culprit. Oh, and Shadow Mario turns out to be Bowser Jr., who captures Princess Peach because he thinks she's his mother. So there's that. All in all, I appreciate how they tried to be different from the standard Mario romp, but it's too nonsensical for me to enjoy it. Not to mention the Piantas are just stupid. I guess I can give some praise to the cutscenes. One thing worth mentioning is that they use full-on voice acting, making it the second Mario game to do this after Hotel Mario. And
you know what they say, all toasters toast, toast.
Yeah, I'll take Sunshine. A lot of people seem to complain about the voice acting, but I have no problem with it. It's goofy, yeah, but there's something about how goofy it is that makes me really like it. Even if Charles Martinet does make Toadsworth sound a little bit like John Cleese.
I am most concerned with the well-being of the princess in this dreadful heat.
If you want to get anything done in this country, you've got to complain to no blue in the mouth.
Okay, I rambled on long enough. Let's get into the game itself. And boy, have I got a thing or two to say about this. First thing worth talking about is probably the hub world. Our version of Peach's Castle this time around is Delfino Plaza, where each of the different worlds can be accessed. As you progress through the game, more things can be done here. If you collect enough shine sprites, you can have this guy give Mario a pair of sunglasses. Nothing too special, but a neat little bonus. Also, you can eventually give fruit to this lone Yoshi egg, causing it to hatch into a Yoshi. As exciting as it is having Yoshi in a 3D Mario game, I have one question. What did they do to you, man? You can't swim anymore. In fact, you disintegrate upon contact with the water. You keep changing colors every time they give you something to eat, and you vomit up your stomach juices. I'm not mad at this, I'm just really weirded out. The hub world is certainly a bit bigger than Peach's Castle, I gotta say. Definitely gives me more room to learn how Mario handles. In fact, to be totally honest, the controls are actually pretty good. Analog movement is incredibly fluent, the dive maneuver works remarkably well, and the camera has been fine-tuned to near perfection. However, most of Mario's moves from Super Mario 64 are sadly gone. No backward somersault, no punching and kicking, and worst of all, no long jump. But I guess it doesn't matter since Mario's got something new to manipulate. Throughout the game, Mario is equipped with Flood. He's basically the main gimmick of the game. He can spray water around to clean up the gunk, and a simple switch of the nozzle can let you hover in the air. Later on, you'll discover other nozzles to make you go 10 times faster, or launch you up into the air like a rocket. These nozzles are kinda cool, but they're only needed for a small number of missions, if any at all. Plus, they switch out whenever you pick up a new nozzle, which really makes me wish that nozzles were a permanent upgrade that you can switch out if you're feeling experimental. Outside of the nozzles, Flood is essentially a glorified water pistol. And like a water pistol, Flood will need to be refilled when he runs out of water. Thankfully, Isle Delfino is practically surrounded by bodies of water, so that really shouldn't be an issue. However, I've noticed that Flood tends to run out of water too quickly. Maybe if the water meter was represented by a bar broken up into 2 or 3 sections, Flood could carry even more water, and having to refill it wouldn't be as much of a chore as it can be depending on the level. That's not the case here, obviously, but I don't think it would have made the game that much easier. Like in Super Mario 64, the main goal of the game is to collect Power Stars, or in this game's case, Shine Sprites, which are basically just fancy-looking Power Stars, so why they changed it, I don't know. These can be found within the different worlds this game has to offer. The worlds are somewhat more expansive than the ones from Mario 64. Actually, they're much more expansive. I dare even say the exploration factor here is much greater than Mario 64. The locations are also a bit more varied, from an amusement park to a hotel resort to whatever this place is. But while the worlds are certainly much bigger than Super Mario 64, I don't exactly find all of them to be as memorable. Something that's also scattered throughout the game are blue coins. Back in Mario 64, blue coins acted like normal coins, only each one was worth about 5 coins. Here, blue coins act as a form of currency. If you have at least 10 of them, you can buy a Shine Sprite from a shop located near the entrance to Rico Harbor. Wait, aren't the Shine Sprites needed to keep Isle Delfino alive? How is everyone just letting these people get away with this? I have to go tell somebody! Oh, this guy wants me to play a minigame? Alright, after this I can tell him about... What is the matter with these people? Each world has about 8 missions, and the first 7 missions must be completed in order to complete the game. Frankly, this is just annoying. In Mario 64, it didn't matter which missions you beat, just as long as you had enough Power Stars to get to the final boss.
That's good.
But here, you have to complete each mission, you have to get all the Shine Sprites in each world, and you have to go through every single encounter with Shadow Mario in the 7th mission.
That's bad.
Not only is that terrifically tedious, but it completely ignores the open-endedness that made Mario 64 so great. The blueprints were established in the last game, so what happened here? But anyway, missions can be beaten by completing certain objectives, just like before. Oddly enough, Super Mario Sunshine seems to have a bigger emphasis on boss battles. This is another thing about the game that really annoys me. They're not hard, at least not all of them, but there's just too many of them. In the first world, I even end up fighting the same boss twice. The second mission has me fighting Petey Piranha, and I have to defeat him by filling him up with water and ground pounding on his belly. Then about 2 or 3 missions later, I just end up finding Petey Piranha again, and I have to defeat him in the exact same fashion as the first time I beat him. There's even an instance where I fight a boss from one world in another world without the game letting me know he's going to be there. In the second world, I fight this giant Gooper Blooper in 2 separate missions. Then in a later world, in a mission that in no way hints at Gooper Blooper appearing, I would find myself having to fight Gooper Blooper again. That just took me completely off guard. More than the fact that Mario rips off its limbs, that's pretty morbid. And here I thought Bowser burning alive in New Super Mario Bros. Was the most disturbing thing I'd seen in a Mario game. However, you can also obtain Shine Sprites by completing obstacle courses that I'll get into later on, or by collecting 100 coins. Again? Yes, the 100 coin star missions from Mario 64 are back when nobody asked for them. And they're even worse now. In Super Mario 64, it didn't matter which mission you picked for each world, just as long as you could get 100 coins to get the star.
That's good.
Here, only 1 or 2 of the missions in each world will have 100 coins to collect, and you need to pick that specific mission in order to get the star.
Can I go now?
Now, as dumb as that sounds, I wouldn't mind it too much if the missions had some sort of marker to indicate which one has the 100 coin star. But guess what? They don't! So you either have to look up a walkthrough or play through every single level looking for coins, wasting a lot more time than it should. And that's not even the worst part. Huh? What could possibly be worse than the 100 coin star missions? How about the normal missions? Let me get a little more explicit here. I hate these missions. I hate these missions. I hate these missions! Not all of them are bad, but a good chunk of them are. There's this one mission where you have to drag a giant watermelon to a small gazebo on the other side of the island, and you have to stop and flip these cataquacks upside down, or else they'll run toward you and cause the watermelon to explode. Then you have to run to the top of this stupid mountain all over again, just to get another one. And you better be careful when rolling it down the hill. Don't want any cataquacks below you to make it explode without you being able to see where it landed. There's this one where you have to collect red coins while riding on a giant sandbird, and the way it keeps moving only increases your chances of falling off and having to start all over. But the worst one of all is this stupid Poison River mission. You ride on a leaf across a poisonous river, and you have to collect all the red coins in order to get the Shine Sprite. And now for my rage. This mission is impossible! The river only flows in one direction, and if you miss any coins, you can't push the leaf back to where you screwed up. And don't even think about trying to swim for it, because the river doesn't just gradually decrease your health the more you swim in it. No, that would be too reasonable. Instead, touching it kills you in 1 hit. 1 hit! And when you reach the end, you think the warp pipe is gonna take you back to the beginning of the mission where you screw up, but no! It sends you back to the hub world. This is absolutely the worst mission I've ever played in a Mario game. The only missions that I really like are, ironically, the parts where FLUDD is taken away from you. You find a secret entrance to an obstacle course within certain missions, and once you enter, Shadow Mario appears out of nowhere and takes FLUDD away. Kind of odd he doesn't just keep FLUDD for the rest of the game after the first time, but whatever. These sections are great because they give me one of the big things I look for in a 3D Mario game, relying on your platforming skills to complete certain tasks. They can be a bit tricky sometimes, but here's the thing. Whenever I fall off a platform or don't time a jump properly, I die because of a mistake I made, and not because of poor level design. Most of the other missions don't make me feel this way. I really wish the game was much more focused on these sections, because these are actually the best part of the game. Certainly better than... Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna skip to the ending. I seriously cannot put up with this. But after getting all the Shine Sprites, all 120 of them, I'm sure all the frustration will be worth it. Right? Right? Really? Really? All that hard work, all those hours of frustration, all that just for a postcard? That's it! I can't take it anymore! This game has filled me with too much rage! So, what's my verdict on Super Mario Sunshine? I hate it! I hate every single solitary thing about it! I wish it never existed! I wish I could destroy every single copy of this game! I just... Thank you, Mrs. Man Voice.
No problem.
Okay, so to be completely sincere with you guys, I didn't really have a good time playing this game. As I brought up earlier, Super Mario Sunshine is one of those games that people either really love or really hate. For me, it's far too frustrating, boxed in, and just downright confusing for me to consider it a good game. If the gameplay focused more on the obstacle course platforming sections, and maybe if they took out all the cryptic garbage and made the game a lot less linear, I'm sure we could have gotten something so much better. But as it is, I honestly can't recommend Super Mario Sunshine to anybody. Funny enough, playing Super Mario Sunshine is supposed to make people more helpful in real life. Obviously, I have to disagree with that since I'm the one who needed help after playing it. Though, if I can find some positives, I will say visually, Super Mario Sunshine is great. I'm not normally a beach person, as you might remember in my top 10 beach levels in video games, wink wink, but the game really nails the beach setting. In some cases, Isle Delfino can look downright gorgeous, almost on par with Destiny Island from Kingdom Hearts. Though I have to admit, the beach setting can get a little stale after a while, which might be another reason why I love the obstacle courses so much. And again, before I forget to mention it, the music is just there. Like Super Mario World and Super Mario Land 2, the soundtrack mostly consists of variations of one theme. Though, oddly enough, the majority of it is pretty forgettable. The only themes I can recall off the top of my head are Delfino Plaza, Rico Harbor, and Bianco Hills. All of them are pretty good, but that's really about it. With this being one of Koji Kondo's last leading projects before becoming a sound advisor, I have to say I'm both pleased and somewhat disappointed. I mean, I love Delfino Plaza and Bianco Hills themes, but the rest is just meh. In the end, well, Super Mario Sunshine isn't awful. I've played games that are way worse than this, but I certainly don't think it's a good game, at least when comparing it to Mario 64. And even then, looking at it as a standalone game, I still don't like it. If you're a Sunshine supporter, that's great. Keep on having fun with it. As for someone like me, I'd say go back to Mario 64. It certainly gave me more of a great time than Sunshine ever will. So, Dr. Offscreen, can I go home now?
Yeah, well, your insanity levels have decreased dramatically, and you haven't pulled your hair out in at least 17 hours, so yeah, you can go.
Well, everyone, it's good to be back. And I'm sorry if I've been a bit negative during this video, but at least we have something better to look forward to. Just a year after the release of the Wii, Nintendo made the risky move in bringing their famous plumber into the world of motion controls. Did they do a good job? Absolutely, but next time we're going to see how they did it with my review of Super Mario Galaxy. Until then, this is Mark, aka Super Smash 3DS, bidding you all a smashing farewell. I'm checking Twitter while I'm recording because, you know, it keeps vibrating, so I have to. Okay, let's see. Mosul Animations favorited my tweet. Okay. Someone named Alice is following me. Oh, she's kind of pretty. Oh, well. Let's see. Ben, parentheses, that meme, favorited 4 of my tweets. I remember we got into a little bit of a thing. Well, not like an argument or bickering or whatever. We just kind of, just like playful banter. You know? You know what I mean? Okay. Mr. Diskey favorited my tweet. Okay. Lizzie Cox retweeted my tweet about Google changing their logo. Okay. Mercurial Mayhem is following me. All right. Liam Wilson. I think that's a uppercase I or maybe a lowercase L. I don't know. They all look the same. Oh, am I still recording? Oh. Uh-oh.